The academy's magic board flickered. Names shifted, ranks adjusted. But at the very bottom, where it had been frozen for 3 seasons, Kenta.
Same as last year, and the year before. At this point, it's almost a tradition.
On the stone steps, he never looked up from his book. Fellow students pointed and laughed from a distance.
Look, it's our beloved decoration. Tell me, Kenta, does the book teach you how to be furniture?
They want a reaction every time. But after 3 years, their insults blend into static.
Then the crowd parted. A woman in a gray cloak strode up, dropped to one knee, and bowed her head low before Kenta. Before anyone could speak, she was gone.
What was that? Somebody just bowed to the dead last freak.
You got some secret fan club furniture. Or maybe you paid her.
Does it matter? You'll still be standing here tomorrow, recycling the same weak punchlines. Mizuki, I promised I'd protect you, but I can't even protect myself from these idiots without breaking cover.
10 years earlier, in a chamber beneath the academy, a child no older than 8 faced a crystal larger than his body. The moment his hand touched it, the light exploded. The measurement crystal shattered into 1,000 shards. The 7 elders watched in silence. Then the leader spoke the words that would bury Kenta alive.
His power is too great. If the world knows, they will either worship him or destroy him, hide him, train him in secret.
From that day, Kenta was erased from the record. His rank would always be last. His true purpose, to forge the kingdom's strongest heroes in the dark, now in a hidden forest clearing. The same Kenta stood before a young woman with a bright smile and a hero's badge.
Sensei, I finally perfected the starburst slash. Look.
Good. But perfection is fragile. The moment you think you've mastered something, it will fail you. Again.
A magical scroll fluttered down from the sky, landing in Mizuki's hand. Her smile faltered as she read the mission order.
I am being sent to the eastern border. Something about a monster surge. Sensei.
At the eastern border, under a broken moon, Mizuki fought alone. Shadowed figures swarmed her, their blades glinting with more than monster blood.
This isn't a monster surge. This is an ambush. They knew my route. They knew my timing. Someone inside the academy.
2 days later, in a quiet corridor, Kenta's book fell from his hand. A tiny sphere of light had materialized, a final message spell. It whispered, then shattered. The orb carried her last words. Sensei, there is a shadow in the academy's highest seat. They wanted me dead. Protect the others.
Kenta, I am so sorry. The official report. Mizuki is gone.
Gone. My best. My first. And someone inside these walls ordered it.
That night, in a candlelit chamber hidden beneath the library, 3 figures knelt before him. The kingdom's proudest heroes, heads bowed in grief.
We lost our sister, and the Academy's official line is monster attack. We know it's a lie.
Mizuki's message spell reached us too. Shadow in the highest seat. We came as soon as we could. What do we do?
We mourn her first. Then we find the truth. And when we do, I will not hide anymore.
The funeral for Mizuki was held in the Grand Memorial Hall, and by the headmaster's gracious order, a broadcast crystal was installed, so the whole kingdom could mourn together.
Let the kingdom watch. The truth always comes out, but only the truth I choose to tell.
Thank you, Kenta, for believing in her when the academy only saw rank.
You gave her strength. Without you, she would have never been our light.
She called you Sensei. Now we understand why.
In the control booth, the operator's hands froze. The crystal had been transmitting the entire time, in every city square. Citizens stared at the projection screens, the kingdom's strongest bowing to its weakest.
They are broadcasting it. This was a trap.
Perfect. Now let the accusations begin. This last place student just became my scapegoat.
Within the hour, the headmaster's office released a statement. an immediate investigation into Kenta's unauthorized influence over our elite heroes. The next morning, the academy gates were swarmed by reporters and angry citizens demanding answers.
Aika of the S-Rank, what is your connection to the last place student? Why did you bow to him?
No comment.
Meanwhile, Kenta was summoned to the headmaster's office. Varys greeted him with a thin smile behind his desk.
Kenta, secrets have a way of destroying people, especially the ones who keep them.
He's enjoying this, but he doesn't know what I know.
I am announcing a formal investigation into sedition. You'd better cooperate if you want to avoid a trial.
Kenta said nothing. He only gave a nod, then turned and left the office.
Stay back. Trust me, this storm needs to pass before the real war begins.
And so, the student, who was always last, sat again on the steps, under the watch of armed guards, his book open as if nothing had changed. By nightfall, the academy guards led him to a cell below the eastern tower. He went without a word, his book left with Aika.
In the dark, he built a wall of memory. Mizuki's laughter, Aika's first stance, Rei's failures, Lena's scars.
Above, in the headmaster's office, Varys dipped his quill. Each stroke amended the truth into a weapon.
By dawn, the council will have no choice but to convict him, and I will be blameless.
Beneath the academy, the 7 elders gathered around a dark table. The air tasted old and cold.
Kenta's exposure is a threat, but so is the headmaster's ambition. We do nothing, yet.
An elder argued, "He is our sword. We should wield him." The leader's gaze froze him.
Only if Varys's crimes come to light will we act. Otherwise, the sword can break. It is expendable.
3 small crystals slipped through the bars that night, pressed by a bribed hand. Each carried a familiar echo. Aika, we stand with you. Rei, we wait for your command. Lena, always. Sensei. At dawn, the great trial chamber filled with nobles, journalists, the jittery crystal of a kingdom watching.
This last place student has woven a spider's web around our elite heroes. He is a poison in the academy's heart.
I have nothing to say.
The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Even the headmaster blinked.
Then I do. I demand to present evidence about Mizuki's death.
Aika lifted a glowing memory crystal. The image of Mizuki's final sword flickered, and her voice filled the hall. Mizuki's recording rasped. It was an inside job. Someone in the academy's highest seat ordered this ambush. Sensei, forgive me. The headmaster's face lost all color. His polished mask cracked in that instant.
Well done, Aika. Mizuki's voice is still stronger than mine.
The court erupted. This trial would no longer be about a low rank. It would be about murder.
Enough. This crystal is a forgery. Destroy it before it poisons the court.
We all heard it. Mizuki's final message spell reached us. 2. Let the court hear her words in full.
The crystal operator, trembling, played the full recording. Mizuki's raw voice named a shadow that sat at the academy's peak.
A fabrication. The S-Ranks are in league with this traitor, spreading lies to destabilize the academy.
The judges leaned forward. The crowd held its breath. Varys's accusations were now a shield against the truth.
Look at them. They've learned to stand without me. That was always the real lesson.
Aika, Rei, and Lena stood unmoving. A wall of loyalty that no accusation could crack.
This court is being manipulated. I demand an immediate adjournment or I walk.
The presiding judge raised a hand. Quiet. The truth was still spilling, and it would not be damned by fear. Kenta's faint smile remained. The trial was no longer his cage. It was Varys's. The judge struck his gavel for a brief recess. In a dim corridor, Varys intercepted Aika before she could disappear with the others.
Retract your testimony, Aika. Name Kenta as the deceiver. Do it, and I'll make you head of the academy. Refuse, and you'll be stripped of rank.
I watched Mizuki die on that broadcast. Varys, your promises are dirt. I stand with Kenta.
The headmaster stormed away. His final ploy crumbled. Beneath the academy, in Kenta's cell, the air thickened.
Kenta, the shadow moves. I have what you need. This scroll is Varus's signed order for Mizuki's ambush. Use it, and he falls. But know the cost. If you expose this, you expose us. The council will become your enemy. The sword breaks when it strikes the wrong way.
So, this is the price. My hidden life for the truth. Mizuki already paid hers.
Without a word, he folded the scroll into his jacket. The choice was made. The cell door ground open. Guards. The trial would resume with a new piece of the truth hidden next to a heartbeat. The trial reconvened, the air thick with tension. Headmaster Varus rose, his voice cutting through the murmurs before the judges could even seat themselves.
This farce has gone on long enough. I move for an immediate verdict of guilty. No more evidence, no more games.
Before you decide, I have one question. Do you truly want to know who murdered Mizuki?
The chamber froze. Even Varus's mouth hung open. For a split second, his demand swallowed by the silence.
Aika, Ray, Lena, will you stand for the truth?
Without hesitation, the three heroes rose. Their eyes burned with unwavering loyalty, their silence a roar. Then, from the gallery, every hero who had ever trained under Kenta rose as one. Dozens, a wall of unbreakable faith.
Then let's show them.
He drew a folded parchment and placed it before the judges. The headmaster's seal glowed crimson. Beneath it, the order to ambush Mizuki. Varus's face twisted into undisguised terror. The lead judge unrolled the parchment, his voice thin as he read aloud the damning words. Every syllable fell like a hammer strike. Eliminate Mizuki to weaken Kenta's network. Signed, Headmaster Varus. The words branded the air.
Lies. That seal is forged. A conspiracy to destroy me.
He lunged toward the chamber doors, but Aika and Ray were already there. Their auras flared, an unbreachable wall. Royal guards seized his arms. His struggle crumbled into a defeated slump. The master of the academy, now a prisoner. The gallery erupted. Cries of shock gave way to a strange silence. Then slowly, citizens and lower-ranked heroes dropped to one knee, facing Kenta.
Mizuki, I kept my promise. Now rest.
He closed his eyes, letting the noise wash over him. For a heartbeat, all the masks fell away. The presiding judge's gavel echoed. This court is not yet adjourned. The matter of Kenta's identity and his influence will be examined next.
They'll dig, but they'll find only what I let them. For now, the real war waits.
The next morning, the guild hall teemed with reporters. Aika stepped forward, her voice raw but unwavering.
Kenta was our teacher, our sensei. The Academy's lowest rank was a lie to protect the kingdom's greatest weapon.
She tore the academy badge from her chest. Ray and Lena followed, then every hero in the room.
We will no longer serve a system that rewards betrayal. From today, we answer only to the truth Kenta taught us.
The hall emptied within the hour. Only a handful remained, staring at the defaced crests on the walls. That evening, as Kenta sat on the academy steps with his returned book, the air beside him thickened. The Elder Council leader materialized from the gloom, his voice as measured as ever.
Varus is gone. The academy needs a head. Accept the position, under council guidance, and your secret ends.
Under guidance? You mean control? I'll think about it.
He returned to his book, the same faint smirk on his lips. The council's game had shifted, not ended. 3 days passed. The Elder Council leader returned to the steps. His patience ended.
I need your answer, Kenta. Accept our terms, or face the consequences of your continued defiance.
The council hid me to control heroes. I will not repeat your mistake.
He stood, closing his book. Behind him, his students gathered, their silence a fortress of shared will.
You defy the council that made you, you'll be hunted,
Hunt him! And you'll hunt every hero who ever called him sensei!
The council leader's eyes flickered with barely suppressed fury. Then, without another word, he faded into shadow.
From now on, we protect people, not institutions. No more hidden strings.
Aika, Ray, Lena, and every hero who defected dropped to one knee. Not in obedience, but in shared purpose, the last place student had become the first hope of a kingdom. The news flew on magic wings. By noon, the academy courtyard had swelled into a sea of faces. Students, citizens, even nobles.
We're live from the academy steps where the man behind the legend is expected to appear.
Kenta emerged, his book under his arm. Aika, Ray, and Lena flanking him. The roar of the crowd settled into a held breath.
Mizuki taught me that the lowest rank can hold the highest hope.
He held up the worn leather book. His voice never rose, but it cut across the courtyard like a blade.
This book was hers. She read it every night after training. She died because she believed in what I taught her.
Aika's eyes glistened. Lena bowed her head. Ray's fist clenched over his heart.
From today, no hero will be hidden. No rank will define a person's worth. We protect the people, not the system.
The crowd dropped to their knees. A wave of silent respect rolled across the stone.
Look, Mizuki, they're all listening. You would have loved this.
Sunset. A hilltop grave marked only with Mizuki's ribbon and her dented sword. Kenta stood before it. Aika, Ray, and Lena behind him.
She was the best of us. The one who smiled even after a broken sword.
In his mind, Kenta saw her again, training under the oak, soaked in sweat, laughing at a failure she'd already overcome.
He remembered her voice. Even if I break, Sensei, I'll keep trying. I didn't cry then. I should have. But now...
A single tear traced down his face. Aika's breath hitched. Ray turned away, fists clenched. Lena bowed her head.
She would have hated us mourning this long. So we train. For her.
He closed his eyes a moment, then opened them clear. The worn leather book he carried, he laid at the foot of the grave.
This is yours, Mizuki. I'll teach from your pages now.
He turned away. The heroes followed, their shadows stretching long in the fading light. Weeks later, the academy stood transformed. The old ranking board had been torn down. In its place, a simple plaque, "Strength is service."
From this day, the Academy will no longer rank heroes by their power, but by their deeds. We learned that lesson from the one we once called last.
Jace and Leo found Kenta on the steps. For once, their footsteps were hesitant.
Kenta, we didn't know. About Mizuki. About everything. We were idiots.
You were. But idiots can change. Train harder.
Aika passed by, her golden armor now bearing no badge, just a small ribbon. She smiled at Kenta, and he nodded.
Even the bullies. Mizuki would have laughed at their faces today. You would have liked this, Mizuki.
He opened his worn book and began to read. The faint smirk never left his lips. The sun climbed higher. The kingdom's hidden master had finally become its quiet heart. A simpler time. Under the same oak that would later witness her triumphs, Kenta found her the first day they met.
I am too weak. The other kids laugh. I'll never be a hero.
I'll teach you. I'm not strong either. But together, we'll be the best.
Really? You'd do that for someone like me?
Someone like you... You mean someone who wants to protect people. Yes.
They shook hands. Two outcasts promising to forge each other into legends. The memory faded. On the academy steps, Kenta sat alone with the same leather book. He closed it slowly, his thumb brushing Mizuki's worn name on the inside cover. And so, the last place student became the first hope of a kingdom. The sun climbed higher. The quiet heart of the kingdom beat on. The academy steps, once a stage for mockery, now held a different silence. Students passed with nods instead of sneers. The lowest rank had become the quiet center. His book never closed for long. The worn cover held a name, a memory, a promise kept. The guild hall, once bristling with ambition, now hummed with trainees learning not for rank, but for each other. Aika, Ray, and Lena stood watch, not as overseers, but as the first students of a new order. The book remained. Sometimes Kenta traced the faded letters, and for a moment, the sun seemed warmer. A ghostly laugh seemed to echo under the oak. Mizuki's legacy was not a grave, but a living heartbeat. The kingdom had not forgotten. In town squares, they told the tale, the last place student who trained every S-rank hero in secret. And on the steps, the same young man read on, his faint smirk, the only answer the world would get. The book closed, the sun set, but the story of the hidden master had only just begun to be written in the hearts of those he saved. Dawn broke over the academy spires, painting the old stone in gold and amber. A new day, a new rhythm. On the steps, the young man with the leather book sat as he always had. But now, the space around him felt sacred. Aika, Ray, and Lena led the first patrol of the new order. No banners, just the quiet strength of shared purpose. The guild hall had been rebuilt, not as a monument to power, but as a hearth where the weak came to become protectors. Children now pointed at the steps and whispered, "That's him, the one who trained all the S-ranks, the one who was last."
Mizuki, you see? They're not afraid of being last anymore. They're just starting.
He traced the worn letters on the book's cover. A name, a promise, a legacy written in ink and tears. A memory of laughter under the ancient oak flickered like a ghost, then settled into the earth. Not a haunting, but a blessing. The kingdom didn't need a new headmaster. It needed this quiet anchor, and he was exactly where he was meant to be. And so, the lowest rank remained on the steps, reading, smiling faintly, the first hope of a kingdom that had finally learned to see. In the old training grove, where Mizuki first stumbled and laughed, new students now found their footing. Kenta rarely spoke. He simply nodded when a form was correct, and the silence taught more than any lecture.
He never says, "Good job." But when he doesn't correct you, it's better than a medal.
Ray demonstrated a parry, his movements exact. The old form that Kenta had once drilled into him 1,000 times.
He taught us that magic is not power, it's precision. Every spark must have a purpose.
The 3 S ranks moved among the recruits like elder siblings, their own training now a torch passed on.
They're teaching the way I taught them. Mizuki would be proud. She's still here.
Under the oak, a new generation learned the starburst slash. A girl with Mizuki's ribbon tied to her wrist nailed it perfectly. Kenta opened his book. The worn pages still held her handwriting in the margins. He underlined a phrase, then turned the page. The steps had become a classroom without walls, and the last place seat, a throne of quiet purpose. On a hill overlooking the academy, a statue now stood where Mizuki's grave had been. Heroes, students, citizens, all stood in silence as Aika pulled the white cloth away. The statue captured Mizuki mid-stride, sword raised, a smile on her stone face, forever chasing the horizon.
She would have hated being made of stone. She'd say she had too much living left to do.
Then let her stand for those who still have living to do.
He stepped forward and knelt at the statue's base, placing the worn leather book upon the granite.
This is where your story rests. But your lessons, they belong to everyone.
A wind stirred, and for a moment, the sunlight fell exactly where she had once stood in the training ground. No one spoke. The heroes bowed their heads. The students touched their fists to their hearts, and the last place student, the hidden master, stood beside the stone image of his first promise, kept forever. Kenta turned from the statue and began the slow walk down the hill. Aika, Ray, and Lena watched, but did not follow.
That book was the last piece of the old me. Now it stays with her.
At the statue's base, the worn leather book sat bathed in gold, its pages fluttering gently in the evening breeze. The sun dipped lower, setting the sky on fire. The statue's shadow stretched long, pointing toward the academy. On the academy steps, the usual seat was empty. The silence was different now, not lonely, but restful. Kenta arrived at the steps and sat, cross-legged, without a book for the first time in years. His hands rested empty on his knees.
You were right, Mizuki. The story doesn't end. It just changes hands.
A final breeze stirred. For a heartbeat, a ghostly laughter seemed to echo from the hill, warm as sunlight on skin. The kingdom's hidden master closed his eyes. The steps that had been his prison became his eternal classroom, and in the hearts of those he trained, the last place student remained forever